to address his speech, but I also addressing it, I was either spoken over, so you probably didn't hear me addressing it, so that's probably the issue. Do you hear me now,
Yeah,
or
no. Yeah, we
Yes.
do hear you.
great? Because I don't want to be speaking to the voices in my head again. Like I already entertained them enough for today. I may have a problem. Alright, so with this said, if you allow me to give the word again.
Yeah,
No,
go
Yeah,
for it.
please. Yeah, we didn't hear you.
Alright, so. Alright, so. Addressing the guild, it is an honor to be residing here at this table with a handful of leaders, dwarven leaders I've managed to bring together, to start probably one of the most ambitious paths for dwarven kin. That being this guild, the Great Dwarven Guild. But I do have to say that this is not the first attempt. I remember it well, the first Dwarven Union, which was just a selfish attempt of the infamous Icy to once again crown himself the king of all dwarves. Using the dreams of Dwarven collaboration and unity as the horses pulling his chariot. It was doomed to fail inevitably. Nonetheless, this dream was never extinguished by a cliché of an attempt. Instead, I've rebirthed, reconstructed and brought forward the concept of a united collaborative entity that does not seek the power-hungry attempts at another dimensional manlet, but instead gather us equals and us ourselves to become the powerful kin we're supposed to be all those years. Today, I do not want to stand before you as another attempt at crowning someone the king of all dwarves, but as someone who wants to give forward the dream of unity and equality amongst all dwarves that want to join this path to the future, this path to progress as one united kin. This is what I do have to say as the founder of the guild. As for who am I am Dorovan of Vukhmir, the leader of the Vukhmirian Mountainship, a proud Centaurian Dwarven province on the southern continent of Rosakora. We're a group of dwarves that are native to Abexilas and have existed for millennia. We may not be the biggest, but the future is as bright as the peaks on a bright winter day. But with this said, I would like to give the other leaders the opportunity to introduce themselves and their kingdom. You, who wants to start, may have the word. May I name someone?
Yeah, you can name.
I would like to name the actual host of this summit, game owner of Xotor.
Okay. I'll introduce myself. I'm game owner. I don't have an roleplay name. This is just my regular name. I founded Xotor not as the king, actually, a very long time ago, before COVID, and it's been on StoneWorks for about a year now. I have always been the leader of that, and we don't stand for high political power. We stand for an awesome build, and that's exactly what you see right here. This has all been built by like a few guys that are Xotorians. We are a group of friends in real life, and we feel like a true team, and all of us feel like dwarves. So we started building this project, and it kind of got out of hand. And then we got the invitation for a dwarven guild, and that's awesome to share builds, tactics, and maybe even hire workers or have people work in other lands to help each other that way with achieving high goals. Since we are never going to be able to do this on our own, and the dwarves should stand together, not political, but on a building point of view. That's all I got to say, actually.
Alright, that was game owner of Xotor. Does anyone want to take the word, or shall I grant it to someone else instead?
Granted, someone.
Alright, I would like then to grant the word to Velis of Khrumaz.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I'm Velis of the High Kingdom of Khrumaz. I'm the nation leader, but we are also vassals to Castanor. In its early goings, Khrumaz was a country built on a collaborative effort to create a Dwarven nation that was strong, rich, and long-lasting. We found that in all other attempts in Rathnir and Eldom to create larger Dwarven nations, that they were stamped out, enslaved, broken apart, and inevitably they all vanished from the world. So we had a mission to ourselves to try and create something that would stand the test of time. So I'm happy that we can be here and I think show just how mighty Khrumaz is and our willingness to help everybody else improve the Dwarven culture and state of affairs on this world. We're dwarves that came from Rathnir and Abexilis. We were essentially saved from the comet by our gods, Tokad and Yora, and transported here after a millennia of traveling, essentially in a different plane before landing back here. And we eventually made our way to the eastern half of the Norvinian or Tiberian continent, whichever one you prefer. And that's where we've been ever since. So I'm happy that we're a part of this, and I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you for the word. Now, I would once again ask if someone wants to address further, I will name someone else. I will probably keep doing this mostly to not enforce some form of authoritarian air to this summit, as that is not the purpose. But if no one objects, I will name Clay of Volanshar to give the word now. You may talk.
Sure thing. I'm Clay von Dwero from Volanshar. I been around for a while, since like 2 years. I've seen a lot of this same thing happen over and over. This is like the third time or fourth time actually, I've seen a bunch of dwarves from all over the world try to unite. Started out as a town. We are just here just to enjoy our time and build a nice community of people. That's the long and short of it.
Right, thank you for the words given. Now, I would like to give the word to the last Dwarven leader. Sorry for making you last, I hope that doesn't...
Oh no, that's fine.
Endeavor of Barakor.
Just need a second. Sorry.
You may have the...
There you go. I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, you may have the word.
So you gave it to me?
Yeah, you have the word, don't worry.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm just gonna use my speech. I'm Endeavor, by the way. I'm a Barakorkin. Barakor is a complicated word. To other peoples, it represents one of the many conquered dwarfholds trampled in the path of human empires. Long dead, its ruins constitute the homes of humans and other races, unceremoniously ripped from its carcass. To many of us dwarves, it means the most famous dwarfhold to ever exist, unparalleled in respect, unrivaled in glory. It remains the biggest what-if in Dwarven history, killed in its prime by ambitious warlords. Storied, gaudy, arrogant, powerful, yet none of these meanings have any association with how the dwarves of the diaspora understand Barakor. During Barakor's destruction, many of its denizens who were not killed in its defense were instead scattered. Most went to allied holds, integrating themselves as it became clear there was no return. But some, lacking wealth and status, had nowhere else to go. This diaspora, long-lived, has erased for these clans their memory of Barakor. The word was reduced to other meanings, associated with how Barakor made them feel. safety, bastion, hope, and shield. To us Itrani, Barakor is an epithet of our patron, Itria, Lady of the Sky, Vicris ad Desperato, Itria Barakor. And I must say, we are not old Barakor. We do not claim to be her. We cannot return to that age. But we survive. She lives in us, the eternal fire, the combined hope of an entire people on our shoulders in our fires. She is life itself, the struggles, the battles, the challenges that make us who we are. So when we say that we are Barakor, we do mean that truthfully, with no deceit in our hearts. May the true sight be given to you all, and the eternal fire fill you with peace and clarity. I'm here because I want peace. I want to work with you guys. I want whatever decisions we come to be from our ascent. And yeah.
That makes sense.
Do you have anything extra to say, or?
No, I mean the guild is good because we're all here, and anything on top of that is just adds to the brevity of the very existence of this guild.
Why, thank you for this shared word among our comrades and dwarves dwarves and brothers in arms. Well, not really brothers in arms, but brothers in brothers. Yep. So, with this said, I believe those are all the dwarven leaders present. The other two, I believe, Ardo. Actually, not. Only one will show up later. Ardo of Dorovan, which I'm not sure if he will give an entry speech, but he will be here when we discuss the structure of the guild. As for Naben of more commonly known Amazonia, is currently having some issues. Not really issues, he can't really attend. So, a moment of silence for the lack of more Dwarven leaders.
It's much better than Fortune.
Alright, with this said, I believe that all the Dwarven leaders have introduced themselves to the dwarves that are now present to the summit, and we should start talking about the guild structure. Now, for the guild structure, I did bring up the creation of 3 principal guilds. 2 or 3. The third one could be a little bit more debated and unclear, but the 2 first ones are clear. The first guild would be a Mason's Guild, a Stonecarver's Guild, which I believe should have in focus the collaborative nature of builders, of Stonecarvers and Masons. I believe this guild, or sub-guild in the big guild, should try and appropriate the requests of all dwarves and assist all dwarves in need to fulfill their projects and building ambitions, to make sure that whenever a human or another fellow dwarf or anything or anyone walks in a dwarven city, his eyes are only filled with the beauty of our kin and nature. And with that said, do the leaders approve of this guild being created?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would approve as long as the guild stays out of politics.
The Great Guild is always supposed, or the concept was made to stay out of politics and military, so it will not come up to be the downfall through some political campaign by some other human empire. It is supposed to be a collaborative in nature, as I said, not really a warmonger or some form of another political entity trying to subjugate the other.
Yeah, this is not a political union.
Yeah, this is a collaboration union. Now, talking about collaboration, this was the first guild I suggested, the Builders Guild. The second guild I suggested was the Merchants Guild. The guild that would support, or to some extent want to attempt and pull forward, economic collaboration between the dwarves. Maybe the attempt at creating a common shop or assisting other dwarven shops, and maybe making some events for digging up other sectors of cities for the masons to build up and maybe exploit the riches of undiscovered parts of mountains and caves. That would be another important element I see a guild should have. And once again, I ask for the Dwarven leaders' approval or disapproval on this.
It would be good for opportunities, especially to those who don't have as many.
Yeah, I think
agreed.
getting the Amazonian leader in here would be good because
We already have the Amazonian leader in here. He can just not attend the summit.
yeah. So that's what I meant.
Actually,
Oh.
no. From what I've been told by Naben, Amazonia is a council-led entity right now because they were waiting for someone named Durin to take power as their old king and reform the kingdom of what was their
Okay.
old kingdom.
Interesting.
That's one thing.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, no, go on.
because
sorry.
they own the Amazonian market, right?
Yeah, they own the Amazonian
that would
market.
be-
Yes.
That would be something that
That would
discuss
be
with them
one
if possible.
element of the guild, but that shouldn't mean we wouldn't try to do commerce between ourselves as governing bodies.
hmm
Or making another shop for this guild, or some guild-owned shop, which could also be quite interesting, but that would be made as decision later once the guild formalizes. Right now we're formalizing guilds, making them official, and when we formalize guilds, we'll elect the guild masters via either election from the leaders or election from all the dwarves of the guild. But that's another topic we'll reach later.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
less and more debated upon thing I wanted to bring about, although this might spark some controversy, it has been an idea which I've talked with some leaders. I won't say what was talked about, what was not, but I'll mention it. It was supposed to be some form of warriors guild to encourage some form of dwarven mercenary group, of some form of dwarven volunteer group to form. But this group isn't really supposed to have any form of political affiliation to a nation. And if it does have an affiliation, it's either minimally to the guild or has no affiliation, essentially being a mercenary group. And the only affiliation it has to is the highest bidder. That is one thing, but as I said, it is highly debated. As I repeatedly said, the goal of this guild is not to be turned into a political or military entity. But not the guild itself I was talking about the guild itself, not creating an entity within the guild that's somewhat military focused. But once again, we're here to talk with the leaders about this and debate upon it. So I will give the word to the leaders to give their concerns or their approval.
I think a mercenary group works given that it's something to be bought and sold, rather be convinced to join a side or not, right? Like it's something that's neutral.
It is recorded by some forms of conflict, or actually not recorded by. It was seen that some mercenary groups would just join a side in war unpaid, purely to support the side they like. So it could be biased towards which is my largest concern.
I could. Oh, sorry. I could
My
see it.
concern is. Oh,
No, you can
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
My concern is that there is the only places where money can be made from mercenaries is in politics.
Yeah.
So when we said we don't do politics, so we also don't make money off conflicts in politics.
So
I think-
that is a focus.
Well, yeah, like in a way, the only instance by which we could get away with endorsing or being responsible for the creation of a mercenary group would be a complete detachment from it, right?
Yeah.
It would just be like, yeah, this is a dwarven mercenary group and we helped create it, but in no way do we
Another.
like
Yeah, I agree to that.
coordinate with it. Like,
It could be formed, but separately from this guild. It shouldn't be connected to this guild
So
if
it should be
was
a
formed.
separate entity, completely independent from this guild.
yeah,
Yes.
if it were to exist, we shouldn't
Because
really be responsible
So
for it.
answering the
Speaking
question.
for
No, go on. Sorry.
speaking for Xotor, I have no fighters, so if it's separate, I have no problem with it because most likely nobody will join it.
So another thing, it could create opportunities for other people to learn how to fight, but that's a much minor issue in this grand scheme of things.
Learning to fight can still be bought. You can have the separate entity that is the mercenary group, and the dwarven leaders could hire them for like a friend's price because of guild, or maybe not even that because we're not connected to it. But you could still hire that group to train your people if you want to.
Yes. So with this said,
Pardon?
and opinions have been given, we could be talked about outside the summit, but to answer the question of it becoming a part of this guild, I assume it is mostly negative.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
It would be for individuals to coordinate and decide.
Alright, so even if only one disagreed, I would have not made it because this group this was the most controversial guild I was going to propose, and I was aware of this, and we've talked about it. You know, Dwarven leaders. We talked of it as a concept, but now we're officially saying that it will not happen under the guild. That's it.
And what about a workers' guild, a place for contracts on certain builds, or
It could be devised between the Masons and the Commerce Guild. Like
Commerce for,
contracts,
like,
like the
items.
guild masters of those open contracts to the members of the guild for them to take on. So it's
okay, good.
so
good.
workers could be both in building and commerce. Like they can
So what
choose
is-
which contract to get, which contract to not join. They can choose how much they do, but it would be something that the guild masters and us leaders will need to talk about. And that's for guilds. We have officialized right now two. The Masons, which is building related, and the Commerce, which is economics related. Now we need to establish, actually no, we need to establish, I want the other leaders, if they have proposals for guilds, to tell me, because we would want as many guilds here. And
Lore and culture.
Lore and culture, you can elaborate on that.
Just a way where people could probably work together to build a more cohesive lore or something like that, or help prop up communities.
I personally fully support that. Anyone else in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a writers guild.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
We could name it the Scribes Guild or something. We could
The
call it
Rune
Stonecutters.
the
Yeah.
Stonecutters is mostly like Masons.
Rune
Sure.
writers.
Law writers,
like-
works.
Rune right, yeah.
I mean, I come
Rune
from.
writers, that's a good one.
From what?
I heard someone say rune writers. That's
That's
yeah,
what
the
I was-
rune writers.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I'm. That's the what I call my lore writers, the rune writers. So
Let's go.
Lift a mug of alcohol for this man.
Chad, is this real?
Yeah, I mean personally, I come from a guild, council democracy, but so yeah, I really like the idea of guilds.
Nice.
And yeah. Alright, so this is officialized by unilateral approval. Now, as I remember to my mess of a brain, I did remember of an idea for a brewer's guild. You cannot say Dwarven without thinking of a big burly man drinking a glass of mead. Brewing.
cheers.
Agreed.
Brewing is
Agreed.
something closely tied to us. And we can all agree that the biggest burden right now is the lack of the brewery plugin.
Yeah.
Curse these StoneWorks.
Could still organize it.
Yeah,
Hey guys,
I know.
we have a bunch of people with their hands up as well.
We will invite them, don't worry. But now we're talking about ourselves, and then we'll invite them. If they have guild suggestions, then we'll talk about
Cool.
how the guild will actually be organized administratively.
Sounds good.
And-
Sounds good.
What about a smithing guild for people that can smith custom weapons?
That would probably fall under some form of military thing, but it could also fall under commerce.
Well,
Since it could be used as an economic
yeah.
means.
I mean,
Yeah, if you're
that's the
selling
same
those
with
weapons.
brewing, right?
It would be far-fetched to say that smithing is military because we're dwarves. We build this great hall for a forge, right?
Fair
I-
enough.
Smithing doesn't have to require just weapons. It could also be armor and pickaxes and axes for people to use when they inevitably break.
It could actually be a different guild that supports both commerce and masons. That's actually a good idea.
Well, yeah. To your point, the Mason and Commerce Guild would already be working together, so there's kind of an expected interoperability between them anyway,
And
right?
we're adding a third one to further interchain this triangle
Right.
of this
Right.
power triangle of guilds.
Which is fine, you know,
Yep.
because the first two are already like interoperable.
Yep. All right. So the approval
Also-
of Smith. Oh no, go on. Sorry.
Just a heads up here. So Durin Iron Sun is actually the StoneWorks guild master for for smithing. So he's saying in chat that like you can advertise there, all sorts of stuff. So perhaps creating like a specific, like rather than having say commerce and then have a few subsidiaries of like the Commerce Guild, we could think of commerce as specifically the trading of general goods. Could be things like bulk orders of resources, things like that, that we all kind of work together for.
Yeah.
And then we can have a brewing guild, a smithing guild, and we can even have Durin help us out with that.
Yep. So we could approve further on this structure. Oh, also I see Ardo has joined us. I see a Dorovan prefix. Is he actually up? Is he up in this? No, he's not up.
He has the Dwarven leader thing. So
Yeah, he does. That's what I'm saying. Like, we could also get up Dorovanian. He's the leader of the nation of Dorovan itself. Ardo is the leader of the Dwarven half of Dorovan. So Ardo, at your discretion, would you want the human partner of yours to be also here up?
Sure.
Or actually, no. Let me ask the leaders if they want that, not just one person.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm neutral.
I don't really think that's kind of the point of this, right? Like, can't he
Yeah, fair.
represent
That's why I'm
the,
torn on this. Like, maybe I mostly asked you, like, maybe if you want, if you don't, like, that's understandable. I'm mostly asking for the opinion of the leaders here, as we are one uniting body, we're one ruling body in this guild. No one is more.
I think it's fair enough for him to represent his partner in this circumstance, because it's not like I'm inviting my other co-rulers, right? Because I'm a part of the Confederation.
Yeah.
I'm here to represent the dwarves in
I mean,
my
I mean, same here. I'm not inviting
nation.
my leader over here. I'm also part of a nation. Like, I'm not
Right.
inviting my. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So proposal denied. He's not coming in here. Welcome, Alto.
That's fine.
Right. Do you have any words to say before we continue this, as you've just probably joined?
I'm good. Just keep going.
So
Alright.
what's the list of guilds we have right now?
Let me actually, maybe do a TXT file, like notepad. Let me just formalize one. Alright, so
then we have,
guild, we have
Yeah, Masons,
commerce,
Rune Riders.
and then like
Uh,
smithy.
brewing and smithing.
Yeah.
And the lore, I believe, was one of them.
Yeah, that's
the
Rune
Rune
Riders.
Alright, we have those 5 guilds going. Any more proposals?
I think I propose making Durin. This is not guild related, but
Leadership
making
related.
Durin Iron Sun Dwarven leadership. He's one of the leaders of Valora, and he essentially leads the Dwarven portion of it. So having him be made a Dwarven leader so that he can represent Valora and their
Oh, so
interests.
he's a dwarven leader,
be-
and he's also leading a bunch of dwarves?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I told
Ooh.
this before? Alright,
Get him in.
So
give me,
yeah, Durin, if you want to be a Dwarven leader in the guild, like I'm recommending you here, but if you don't want it, that's fine. But I figured I would
So,
at least.
which one? I'm recording this with OBS, so I have streamer mode on, and a lot of names are just like shortened to just their initials. Which profile picture?
It is the white and black one with an axe and a hammer over an anvil.
Great.
Durin Iron Sun.
You
He's
are
in
now a
chat.
dwarven leader. You are invited to speak.
Let's go.
I don't think he uses his VC though. Like uses his mic. I think that's the only thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess we'll look through the Great Hall or no mic to see what he wants to say.
Type and be red.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how many dwarves you have. If you lead them, you're a dwarven leader, right?
Exactly. At one
Yeah.
point I wanted to invite the Dwarven Nation with like 3 people. Who cares? Dwarf is dwarf, they come in.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I
Every-
agree with
Yeah.
There
that.
is
No
for
limits.
those nations, for the dwarf groups that are small. There's a lot of room to grow. Apex is
Exactly.
not old, and they can grow by this guild if they become a leader.
True.
Exactly. This was supposed to be collaboration to further unite our strengths. So yeah, welcome them all. If you know any, bring them here. I'll be happy to roll them. But now,
Right.
if there are any more guild suggestions, then if there are not, we will go forward and talk about how we elect or choose or appoint the guild's leader. So, anything to be added, like any other guild suggestion?
I feel
Oh,
like
we
we covered
either-
most of the major ones, right?
Alright,
Yeah,
I mean
there's
most could be added by suggestion from the people or other leaders. I mean, so
Yeah.
it could
I
be
think-
added further on.
History
the
build
elections,
is
I would
Lore Writer's
say-
deck.
For the elections, I would say there's three ways of it being done. It's either one, dwarven leaders vote. Two, the people of a nation vote. What comes out of that is what the dwarven leader votes. Or three is everybody votes.
I say I had two variants in mind. One was indeed having the dwarven leaders only vote, which would be a bit less democratic. And second one will be have the dwarves of the guild, as in all everything that will be election related will be done in the guild. We won't overcomplicate that much.
I think it makes more sense to have it be that the nation leaders vote, because I
Yeah.
think otherwise, and this is like, I feel like larger, more populated nations like myself would have a more powerful voice than everybody else. So by just having it be
True.
the votes of the nation leaders, we do equalize everybody.
Yeah, and then you could say for yourself if you are a leader that says I want my people to have a voice in this, you could pull the election with your people. What comes out of that is what you vote.
I mean that's mostly a thing of personal choice to do in your own realm and nation, which we won't interfere in. If you want to choose a guild master, by that means it's your choice. But if we do this, so how many are in favor of the leaders being the ones who
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
One die.
I think that
people?
just makes sense.
3 people?
Agree.
4
Yeah.
people? Alright,
Let's type it.
majority
Yeah, how do you
gained.
want to do this?
Everyone.
Yep, majority gained. Only the leaders will appoint. And now we
Right.
must talk about the power of those guild masters. Do we make a separate council of guild masters that have equal power to the rules council, or make it an under the leaders council entity that still has some power over their own guilds but still have to somewhat answer to us?
The latter.
The latter?
Yeah.
Who's in favor of the latter?
Sorry, so you're saying either.
Endeavor
Sorry,
is
maybe explain that
endeavor.
again. 'cause
Or
I'm-
Yeah.
make the dwarf
Yeah.
make the guild masters have their own chamber, which is either equal to us in power or below us in power, like the leaders.
I mean, I think the way that I envisioned this is that the guild masters would almost be the nation leaders themselves, or at least we oversee them all. So that I think the great, like us as the different dwarven leaders, is the highest level of authority, and then you then have guild masters who can apply to be guild masters, and then every single nation or every single dwarven leader would kind of supervise a given guild, or we would all kind of simultaneously supervise the guilds.
That was the thing where I said like us
Right.
collectively supervising the guilds, essentially being us over the guild masters and their form of administration. That was
Might
the latter.
agree.
Yeah, well, to Velas's point, like we could either, like a dwarven leader doesn't have to be a guild master, but a
Yes.
guild master cannot necessarily be a dwarven leader.
Agreed.
Yep.
I think also if we we're talking about power, right? The overseeing to give an example, right? We shouldn't be you can do this, can do this. We shouldn't be like on top of it. Then you could be the guild master himself if he can't do anything
Yeah,
by,
that was
by
why I also
himself.
suggested the equal in power, so it could be some form of debate and compromising going on in between the two entities to further reach compromises.
I want to
and,
give an example.
Yeah, go on.
So let's say we see the smithing guild takes on a contract for an army. That's where we step in, right? But if they
If
just
it becomes
do
political,
sell
yeah.
to, yeah, that's like if there's something that's not right with the guild, that's the only place where the leader should step into the guilds. Leave the rest to the guild master. He's chosen. He should be leading the guild, but we should be above him to stop when it goes wrong.
So-
Because otherwise, you're giving one person the power, basically, if
Yeah,
he's equal to all of us.
Alright. So so majority is in the favor of the latter. We supervise the guild masters as the above entity,
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Except for me.
except for who?
Me. I think there should be more of a balance of power, but majority rules. So.
I mean, that would essentially mean either.
Oh no, I'm
majority-
cool with it either way. I just prefer the latter. Either way works.
Well, there is a third option where I think the way you described it, Anovian, was sort of to put them in their own separate council.
Yeah.
I could be fine with just letting them join our council and have them have a vote.
So essentially, have them join the essentially merge the dwarven leaders and the guild masters into one leading council of the guild.
Right, because we have, I think what we're operating on is simple majority anyway. And so if we
Also,
were
speaking,
to...
I was gonna suggest like on how the guild itself is run, and I was gonna suggest either the leaders elect like a great guild master, or we keep the council system in which everyone has an equal say and equal power in the guild.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, in that case,
And
we
if
could
we make
have
a
somebody
bigger
who...
council, then it's either having a lot of people in power,
Right.
and it's
I think-
a lot of voices that need appeal in order for the guild to stay stable.
Yeah, we do have like 5
we-
or 6 right now, right?
Yeah, and if we also make if we have 5 guilds, we also have like 8 Dwarven leaders. We already have like
We
1,000.
could do one thing. Well, because I'm not a fan of having one person in power, but we
Me
can
neither.
make
we're
elder
not doing
guild
that.
masters and have like 3 or 4 of the first members of the guild be like a small council, which is essentially the leading.
So
group.
it's essentially a council that leads a council that leads the guild.
Yeah.
Another.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well,
think
so
of
here's
councils.
what I would say. I mean,
Oh, that's a good
because
idea.
like, so first of all, you guys are talking like guild masters as if like the guild masters are the norm, but it should be you have guild members and you have guild masters.
Yep.
And
they could also.
but I would say that like having one guild master or maybe 2, just to really kind of centralize the power within each guild, and then everybody else is a guild master, and then people could be like, or everybody else is a guild member, and then, you know, people in the overall guild could be a part of like a few different guilds, and so it gives them variety.
Hello?
I mean,
Can
there
I
isn't really something restricting them. Like, who's gonna stop you from joining both commerce and
Can
maybe
I-
smithers
Yeah.
guilds? So who's gonna
I'll
stop
just
you?
say one thing. Sorry for interrupting you. Is remember we don't need to solve all the problems in one day. A lot of this stuff will take time to properly come up with a good system that will last.
So
But-
you're saying we postpone this until we finally establish on paper and start debating more over
No, I'm
the
just-
system, or
Well, I think there
Yeah.
are things we can decide on.
Yeah,
Right.
there's some things we can decide on. I'm just saying the nitty gritty details. A lot of them will take a lot of time. Time I don't think at least I don't have for today. Sorry.
And also, one thing for the leading, for right now, this is fine. It doesn't matter how many people are voting, as long as we vote with. You say a lot of voices need answering. Well, they don't. If the majority says this is it, then it's that.
so we could just make like one big ass council of guild leaders and nation leaders, and
Yeah,
make
I
vote
guess so.
majorities.
And then then if there's a problem, it gets voted, and then we vote with as many people as are in there, the guild masters and the leaders. And what comes out of the vote is the answer. And that way you don't have million voices to answer to. You have two options. It's either yes or no.
And for that to work, we would, I think, for long-term health, it would be advised to strictly, like you said, to avoid politics, since that could easily, I could see that tear this whole system idea apart if that gets involved.
Well, on the other hand, we could have okay. So we as Dwarven leaders are the top. We could have a lower level council of guild masters who sort of elect somebody to represent them to speak on their behalf to us, so we can limit the amount of people that are necessarily a part of this council while also solving the problem of guild representation.
So kind of like a guild speaker.
Yeah, like they're kind of like chairman of the
But
guild.
you could
like
also
the lower
see
guild.
it like this, because the guild master, what he really should, he's not the leader. He's making sure that it doesn't go to shit. So if he finds a problem within his guild, it should be his task to come to the guild master, to the leaders, to pull his problem out, and then the leaders should have a vote on that. That's maybe better than having everybody vote on every problem, because if you're gonna have everybody vote on each problem, it's gonna be a vote every day. So if there is a problem, a member has a problem, he goes to his master. His master sees if he can fix it by himself. It's a small problem, he fixes it by himself. If he doesn't know what to do with it, he goes to the leaders. They have a vote on it.
Yep.
I think that's the best separation of power.
So yeah. And I do like the idea of the speaker, because you could go like this: member asks the guild master if he can do it. If he cannot, he goes to the guild speaker. If he can also not do it via guild collaboration, he comes to the council of leaders, and then the big democracy starts shifting its gears. So
Because
so it'll
have a
limit the
vote
amount
every
of votes
day.
that we have, and it'll kind of constrain the amount of voices that are talking about that issue, right?
Okay, alright.
So with this said, do we have a final idea, or would the debate go on?
So, before we go too much further, so Dern Ironson's been talking about some stuff.
My bad.
Where like, yeah, no, that's okay.
And we can also appoint people. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, essentially, what he's saying is that like the nation leaders are essentially given ministries, and those ministries would then kind of watch over different types of jobs or guilds. But that like essentially you have this guild here, us, with the leading Dwarven people being, the highest authority, and then you got ministries that would then oversee different jobs. Yeah. I mean, I think during like I think the concept here is essentially what you're talking about anyways. Like, we're not discussing making a whole bunch of other discords. It's all going to be in here. It's just like you were saying, like joint guild and then just a bunch of subsections based on professions. We're just calling them guilds. And then the point of conversation right now is about how to go about making leaders of each of these subsections, these guilds.
These ministries, if we could call them this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the point of
whether or not
Guildmaster-
that's going to
the
be
point of-
managed by
The point of
Dwarven leaders, or
Guildmaster
if
was
that's
to
going to
essentially
be-
give a name that fits the guild aesthetic. I mean, we could name on ministers, but that already sounds like a government, which is political.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So my view on the power within the guild is like this: you have the Dwarven leaders, which are on the top. Then you have the guild masters, which should not be Dwarven leaders because they already have their
Conflict of interest comes in place.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be the guild masters should be elected from citizens.
Not citizens,
And-
members of the guild.
Right.
Yeah, well,
We're not a
members of the
nation, we're a
guild.
guild, remember?
Yeah, guild
No
members
problem.
fine.
No problem.
Nation
But-
when? Nation when? Nation when?
And then below that you have
Welcome to
just the
40
regular
Bill.
members, which if they find a problem, they go to the master. If the master can fix it, they go to the leaders. That way we keep down the amount of votes, because otherwise we're gonna have a vote every single day, and I'm not down for that.
Yeah.
Right,
It's just, what you suggest is essentially move that speaker of guild masters thing. They have like more
Yeah.
direct.
Either the guild member could also ask his guild master, "Hey, can I speak for my problem?" And if the guild master says yes, that's fine. Then that's also fine, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
I
and
don't- I
if
think
they do
based off of-
something wrong, then we can always like sort of
Yeah.
hear about it and then decide maybe we the long hand of democracy kind of slaps them, you know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, we
and
should,
then
we
Right,
should
if
I'm
he
almost-
also
goes,
we should also tackle the seriousness of the situation and how it should be taken off, because there is a difference between problem not enchanted probably and problem this thing is probably collapsing the market or something.
Yeah.
So there is also different impacts of certain issues, because not all of them can just go up to the guild master and go up to the council of leaders and be like, yes, this set is of protection 3 instead of 4 and not good. And
yeah,
so,
that's why if they feel like they have a problem, they get to their guild master. And if the guild master says, "Well, that's shit for you that you enchanted your pickaxe shit," then it's done with that, right? But if it's a big problem, then he's like, "Okay, maybe I talk to the leaders."
Yeah, I mean,
And that's
if it
why
is-
we
if it
should
is a
have
minor
good guild masters.
If it is a minor issue like a pickaxe not being properly enchanted, I mean, it probably wouldn't even ever reach the big council because
That's a
of
skill
common
issue.
sense. Because
That's a
of
skill
common
issue.
sense, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'd like to propose actually that guild masters are dwarven leaders. That way we're kind of eliminating extra bureaucratic shit that
Yeah, but then the
bogs
guilds would
down
become
the
like-
ability of us to be able to make decisions quickly.
Yeah,
Well,
but
not
then-
every dwarven leader can be a guild master.
Not
too,
only that,
Exactly.
it
right?
will also make essentially the guild centered around that nation, leader's nation. For example, if we give, I don't know, maybe give Volanshar, for example, brewing, they will be the brewing guys, and then if something comes around that we replace them with, I don't know, maybe the
I mean-
Xotor leader, it all goes down because the brewing was relied on another nation, and now they have to.
Yeah.
It's a big.
I could
mess,
be
that's-
devil's advocate, right? Like you said in the beginning that we could use this as a means to recruit, right? In essence, uniting the guild masters with the dwarven leaders, and in essence politicizing that, and like tying yourself to that guild and tying the physical locations of that guild to your nation claim or to your town claim would solve the issue of where this stuff is happening and where to go if you need to like if you wanted a contract, right? You would know, oh, I could just go to Xotor.
In
They
this-
have the guild hall there. I can pick up the contract there.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I need a weapon made, and I can go to Valeria or whatever. I'm sorry, not whatever, but like I can go there and I know where it is.
Yeah, and instead
I
of
agree
contacting the
with,
guild, you
Dorovan
contact the
on this.
nation.
Yeah, I would say what Dern said here is fair. I mean, you shouldn't make guild masters dwarven nation leaders. At the same time, though, what if the best person for the job is the dwarven nation leader?
I mean, that's why the democratic element of choosing it is here, because Dwarven leaders would elect the person they see fit as the best. You know, that's why we have like a bunch of people choosing, because those people that choose someone could see that one as fit for the job. So that's essentially democracy at work.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I understand that then. Yeah.
I mean, as you suggested, if we elect Duran, for example, he's the head of already, so he's already big forging,
Yeah.
he's already
He would-
big
he would
forge
very much just
GM. So of course he would be fit for the job, and would all agree with it, and that's just
Yeah.
a
That's
majority for him to place him in power. I mean, it's not really that. Yeah. Not offend
Yeah,
anyone
that's-
with this claim. Anyway, so we can so to make some points here, we can all agree that the Dwarven leaders are on the top of the pyramid.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we need to talk about the middle of the pyramid, on how the guild masters are run. And from what I see here, it's either. Also, can we see how's the idea of having guild masters as nation leaders? Like majority, yes or no? I say no.
If their
I'd
if
say
their
no.
skill is better, then yes, sure.
I mean, if they're elected as a meritocratic leader, not for purely being a nation leader. I mean, if they're getting there through meritocratic and actual means, not just I'm leader, I must have power means, you know, because that would just be mostly oligarchy nature. So, regarding this, if we remove the concept of Dwarven leaders being guild masters, we have two things left. And both of them imply them organizing their own entity, but it's either them keeping their own entity for collaborative purposes, but if they have a speaker or not, that's the difference between the two options. So it's either we make this entity with a speaker or without a speaker. That's the thing I'm trying to bring now to the middle of the pyramid.
I think it should be. I think it should have a speaker.
I mean, same here. The speaker would just become one of the one equal in power with the nation leaders, that would also have a direct say in this, other than just private DMs, which could be hidden behind some doors and could have conflicts of interest. Instead of this, we could have like a direct person directly addressing the issue to all of us. So I believe a speaker is a positive thing to have at the middle of the pyramid.
Yeah, and they could represent, in a way, you could say, yeah, bureaucracy for bureaucracy's sake, but we're actively limiting the amount of work we individually have to do by creating that sort of detachment and self-sufficiency within the lower levels of the guilds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, who is pro speaker and who's anti-speaker? Say yes or nay. Yay.
Yay.
Or nay.
Oh,
Yay,
what would
I say.
be the
Yeah.
like the actual role of the speaker though?
I would say he gets elected by the guild masters, like they chose between themselves who gets to be the speaker, and the speaker would be essentially to address the bigger issues of a guild to the nation leaders.
But one thing I would like to point,
There's
we're having a server on Discord right now with like 50 people, right? And there's gonna be more than half of it has like some kind of custom role. It's gonna be a mess.
I mean, right now I only have to make like the guildmaster role and the speaker role. I only see two roles being made right now for this.
Yeah, but
maybe channels
we
more.
first,
Is that
maybe to start it, stop this discussion for taking way too long. Maybe first we should have people in the guilds, like have a guild, have people in the guilds. Then from those people, see their skills and choose a leader, and then see from there how it goes.
Yeah, but we must somehow formalize the guild, because a guild with no form of head representative is a bit weird. It would be like purely ran by the members of it.
Well,
So we
I
could
say
do this
we'll
thing.
figure it out.
Goes to Nicholas.
Oh, sorry, this one wants to speak, or can I continue?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Oh, you can continue.
We could do this thing of just making the guilds, appointing no leader, and allow the people to just prove themselves they're worthy of the guild by work. And the one who is most worthy gets the power by democratic vote in Leaders' Council.
We could for now, as the leaders council, we have the leaders chat, right? For now, we could just have the guilds and see where it goes. Like see if some guild takes off, some don't.
Yep.
See what happens.
Now
And
for
because
sure.
right now
for
we cannot choose.
Sorry.
We can't choose a guild master because we don't know any of them and they haven't done anything. So you can't choose on skill. I can say like my guy is better than yours, but I don't
I
know
also have
yours.
a guy that's better, so yeah, once again, conflict of interest.
And
Very
also-
good point.
Also, guild masters wouldn't be just the brewing master couldn't just be good at brewing. They also actively have to be good at organizing and working with people.
Not to
It's also
mention
another-
that brewing isn't really a thing in this moment.
I was just using that as an example, but that was also a good point.
I mean, we could maybe right now use
The brewing
guild
guild.
as the
We'll
food
just have a
guild.
sign. We'll just have a sign over an empty room called Brewers Guild and call it a day.
Yeah, it's like cobwebs and everything.
Oh
A bunch of barrels.
Tumbleweed.
Couple of
Yeah.
empty barrels.
no. Anyway,
Just to make this
anyway,
summit
we
not
could
take
right now make the
too long.
brewery guild take care of the food that give effects until the actual brewery plugin comes out, since those two are essentially food is the replacement of brews until that comes out. So
Like pretzels.
yeah, pretzels.
Oh,
Like
pretzels.
brewery
My
right now.
favorite.
The food guild.
I'd like to. Sorry, I just
Go
wanted
on.
to bring up something. So,
Go on.
when we're talking about speakers, are we talking about one speaker for all guilds, or one speaker per guild?
One speaker for all.
Right,
Okay.
they represent
because
all
then
the
might
other
as
guild
well just
masters.
get all the guild masters into that if we get like one for
Yeah.
each. So it's a bit
Yeah.
pointless.
Okay. And then, yeah, Durin's saying, I mean, skill in their profession should be number one concern. Leaders can help micromanage the organization.
Yep. Oh, also, we should talk about actual in-game manifest, because this is a thing of making it in either nations or... Actually, no, that's a bit involving too much in politics. If we create our own nation, claims something independent, that already implies a Dwarven Federation, which is way too far off.
Yeah.
So we need to see how this goes. I mean, it could be the individual effort. So it could be, it should be everyone's effort, not one nation's effort, because then it's spread everywhere equally, or
I think
meritocratically on who works the most.
I think it's important to talk about payments and things through the guild. Like, obviously the idea is, some of it is going to be very much more RP focused, like the Rune Riders.
And the Rune
But,
Riders...
yeah, we can make Dwarven embassies. But
Yeah, go on,
when it comes to things like trading goods, and if it's on behalf of this guild, all of a sudden we're running into, well, are we splitting the profits like 9 ways? Like, what are we doing?
Like, from what I see here is that it shouldn't really be this thing, because really some things are more profitable than the others. But I see this thing. The Rune writers could make commissions for wiki pages to be made and get paid in that. And then
That's true.
And then the one who takes over the contract gets paid, essentially the worker.
Okay.
So that's
a good
how
idea.
I see, like, that's for the guild. For the forge, essentially you make a contract for this, the one who sells you the forged items is getting the money, but it is under the supervision of this. Like, we shouldn't really tax it anything, because then if we tax it, we need to store it in a common storage, which once again implies a federation, which is political.
So I guess something that I'd like to ask. Well, we should. Sorry. Yeah. Let's solve this first. And then I'd like to ask a question.
Go on.
Okay. So as far as contracts go, right? A lot of these guilds will need to create them in order to ensure that they get paid, or at least establish a report. So if they do or don't get paid, they have evidence for it, right?
Yeah.
Would that be handled by the Commerce Guild entirely? That
No,
seems
it would
like
be
a lot
handled
of work.
It would be handled by the guildmaster itself. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
The thing with commerce should include trading of items, not everything money related.
So in the case of the
Rune masters?
not the miners, but I guess the but what did we call them?
Rune masters?
No, miners works.
Well, the yeah.
I wish I could play the Vine Boom effect now.
Boom, boom.
No, the
The,
fucking guild
um,
of miners keep Drake away.
Let's just say the
No,
Smiths, right?
at least he
The
didn't
Smiths.
call them the Guild of Diggers.
Ayo, so like, let's just say the
Yeah.
Smith.
No.
Like the Smith Guild, right?
Yeah.
Would they have to go through the Commerce Guild to make a contract, or could they unilaterally make a contract through that guild master?
We did establish that commerce, brewing, and smiths would have a triangle. But then, what about the what's it called?
The lore, like the rune writers, like would they also need to go through the Commerce Guild in
That's
order
the
to
thing.
create?
I mean, their contracts could be separate, as it doesn't really imply something physically in game. It implies something that's already off, which is
Maybe-
wiki pages and
Well, then
lore
what?
articles.
Like at that
Well, we
point,
could-
right? Then what does
I-
the Commerce Guild do if we decide
Exactly.
to just let the
Yes.
guild
Shop.
masters
So
handle it?
I think my point of view on this then is that we dissolve the Commerce Guild and we just split what it would do and a few other things. Like, we could say, oh, well, we we have the Enchanters Guild, which mostly trades in like just books, but then also enchanted books and like
So
even
dissolve the
enchanted
commerce and
weapons
allow
so
each
on.
guild to do its own thing.
Well, we
Monetarily.
can also. So what I was going to kind of go into was we could potentially rebrand the Commerce Guild as the Contract Guild that negotiates contracts and sort of acts as like lawyers to create the contracts for
I
people.
would mostly use the Commerce Guild in case we make ever a guild ran shop. So
Okay.
Yeah.
unless
I was
a
imagining-
plan to actually make a shop that actually can counter Amazonia's
Oh.
power.
No,
Well, yeah.
if
So what they
you-
could do is they could like work with people so that they can create the shops and they can sell that information.
What
to
I would
people,
see the
maybe.
Commerce Guild do is say I have a million blocks of cobblestone down here, and I want to get rid of them. I would go
Yeah.
to them. I say, hey, I have this many blocks. Sell them.
Also, essentially, the commerce takes care of transactions that are not either brew or forge related.
So they search for people to sell stuff
So
to.
it's
I guess.
that's essentially commerce, finding a market to sell something.
Yeah.
I mean, every okay, so we
traders.
establish this. Every guild will have independent contracts that the guild masters and themselves will take care of, and the commerce will take care of like building blocks and things that are not related to nor smiths nor brewers.
Yeah, but say the masons need a particular block, a lot of them. They can also go. I want to buy.
They
that
buy from
amount
the
of
commerce or supply. From
Yeah,
the
and they go
commerce.
to the Commerce Guild.
Yeah, they go to commerce.
Guys, I gotta go. Sorry.
That's
All
fine.
right,
Alright.
Stickly.
All right.
Nice
Also,
to
to
meet
see
you
you.
need to maybe
Just let me
because-
know if you need me.
As I
Um,
said, we'll write a briefing with the leaders after this. I mean, we'll have to write a lot considering the length of this. We're
Yeah,
probably
that's what I
talking for
wanted
almost
to
an
say.
hour.
We should cut it a bit short now. I think because it's we're just rambling on and it's not going anywhere from now. I feel like we
Well, we're just
established
clarifying a
guilds.
lot of
I mean,
stuff.
we're clarifying a lot of
Yeah.
stuff and we are getting somewhere.
Yeah, but we clarified what guilds we have. We clarified what the ranks will be, and I think from here we should just see how it goes.
Actually apply it and see how it goes. So essentially, now we've
And then
clarified.
maybe have a next summit next month or something, and then continue the
Yeah. Also, who will host the next summit? if
what's
there is one?
the
Probably
Golden
Khrumaz.
Dwarf Fest? What's this?
We should probably have a place to hold the next council meeting if we're doing it in about a month's time. Yeah.
The dwarf
I know
leaders should wear
I-
these helmets.
Oh,
Which
Yeah.
elements?
Wait,
God.
which ones?
What
the
the
gold head
hell
ones?
is that?
The gold head
That's
ones.
awesome. That's fucking
Can
awesome.
I get one of those?
Where do you get those? Where do you get those
Hello?
from?
I don't know, somebody just gave it to me.
One Khrumazian was dropping it.
Let's go.
Oh. Who was
That's
that?
pretty cool.
It's such a
Oh,
awesome
Killy
idea.
gave them out. Oh, what the heck? Hell yeah.
Can
Yeah,
we
I
just
think
put our
I think
flags in our right hand.
early
So,
game owners.
to
Oh, I forgot to
establish.
bring a flag.
So, is the end of this like? Do you want to end the summit and clarify the points right now to make sure there is no clouds anymore left in the sky to blow out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so we've clarified. Who are we as leaders? Like we've introduced ourselves to the guild. We've clarified our intentions. Drew out which guilds will exist. And how everything will be ran is still debated. So what we'll have to do now is to actually prepare prepare the guilds by making new channels, which I suggest there are forums, like forums as introductions for this guild, and then have like sections in the server for like Masons chat, Forgers chat, and have their like informations and stuff, and have them talk to each other, you know. So yeah, we need to establish these. As for the goal of the summit, do the leaders believe it was achieved?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely. I think we need to figure out where we go next, like as per the next summit, and eventually at that next summit determine if we have a guild leader.
Yeah, I mean, right now we'll just keep the leader system, and right at the next summit maybe actually appoint the guild masters, because right now
Right.
we don't. Maybe one exception, we appoint Durin.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
almost
we
immediately.
appoint him because it's clear that he's the one taking over the Forge Guild.
That's
So-
easy.
We should
Done.
also like. I mean, this is purely cosmetic, but we shouldn't just have like guildmaster role. We should sort of have it be like forge master, rune writer, like things like that. Just
Yeah,
have
but we call them guildmasters in
and-
general. That's what like.
Yeah, yeah,
We-
yeah.
well,
That's
making-
purely just like
giving-
a thought of mine.
Giving them that role also could help in giving him extra perks in said Discord section.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could just give him like guildmaster, like make a general guildmaster role, and then put like after the name rune writer guildmaster. You know, like
Could
us
be-
leaders, like
yeah,
us
their
leaders having
nickname.
our name and then bar
Yeah.
what we represent.
Yeah.
You know,
I just think it adds a bit of.
that's mostly a cosmetic choice for the individual,
Yeah.
not necessarily something that should be mandated via direct order.
It'll limit the roles. You could just
Yeah.
make it a nickname.
It will make like 5 roles for that could be taken by just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. We'll probably actually we could end the summit officially now and go in a VCA for like fuck around and have fun.
Yeah, I agree with
Alright.
that.
Also, I want to
We-
remind
we
you this
have,
summit is recorded.
Yeah, we. Yeah,
Where
I
can
think
we
it's gonna
find
end
it? Where can we find the record of this?
I'll probably post it on YouTube or make it an MP3.
All right, let's cut ourselves on this and seal this covenant.
Oh yeah.
Alright,
yeah.
let me do the official outro. By a decision of the Dwarven leaders, I declare this summit ended. Thank you for participating. We'll see you in FVC. Hits gavel.
Let's go.
Oh.